Hey guys, it's Bailey. So I'm just going to talk to you guys a little bit about Habitat for Humanity, which is the organization that I ended up volunteering for. So just some information about them. So obviously they're called Habitat for Humanity, and the location that I ended up going to was 1611 Carpenter Avenue, Des Moines. Basically, they'll send you wherever they need volunteers. It just kind of depends on where their projects are and what they need from you, indoor, outdoor, anything like that. And then just a little email that you can contact them if you want to volunteer after all this. Just a little bit about them. So mission statement is seeking to put God's love into action. Habitat for Humanity brings people together to build homes, communities, and hope. So basically, when I think about Habitat for Humanity, I think about them just really wanting to support people of the communities around them and just make sure that they are in a stable, safe home, that they can really prosper, and just give them that little step up that they needed. Some of the principles that they kind of have is demonstrate the love of Jesus Christ, focus on shelter, advocate for affordable housing, promote dignity and hope, and support sustainable and transformative development. So the first thing you want to say is just the first part, so the demonstrate the love of Jesus Christ. This is something that they're affiliated with, so Christianity, they're affiliated with it, their organization is. But something that I found interesting about their website that I actually didn't really know before I had to put together this presentation was that they aren't going to push it onto anybody. That was a big thing that they talked about. Obviously, they believe in this, and this is what kind of pushes them. It makes them want to kind of share the love that they know that he gives us. But they made a point to make sure that the people that were getting involved and the people that were seeking housing don't have to be affiliated with it at all, and they aren't going to push anything onto them to make them want to participate or anything like that. Focus on shelter, so obviously I'll talk about that a little bit more on the next slide, but they are here to build homes for those in need in the communities. Specifically, the one I volunteered for obviously was in the Des Moines community area. But they're kind of all over the place, just different sort of franchises, if you will, all over. And then advocate for affordable housing. I'll talk about a little bit later too, and just promote dignity and hope. A lot about what they stand for is just making sure that people are hopeful for the future and know that no matter what situation you're in, that you can always get out of it, and there's always somebody who is willing to lend a helping hand. And then just sustainable and transformative, I'll talk about that a little bit too. So a little bit more about them. So basically what it is they build homes for families in need in the community that they are kind of stationed in. So mine obviously was in Des Moines, as I said. So they take homes that need refurbished and build from scratch. They actually partnered with another construction company this year that they were able to put a brand new house up right next to the house that I was helping that was being refurbished. That was an older home. The biggest thing that I have to say about them is it's all about volunteers. It could be individual like I did, or organization group, which I think is super cool. So let's say Wells Fargo wants to have their workers go and do some charitable work. They can send a whole group of them over, and they can all be placed together to do certain things on the house and just give back to everybody around them and their communities. And then contractors, they're connected to Habitat for Humanity, so all the contractors that I was with, they had been with them for at least 3 to 5 years, but I thought it was cool that they would just make sure that they stick around, so they aren't just picking up random people. Obviously, if you want to get involved, they would be happy to have you on board, but to know that they don't really have the profits to be able to pay them such a big salary, salary that they would probably get from a different organization, and they still want to be there, shows a lot about what they stand for and what Habitat for Humanity has to offer to them. And then families, so the homeowners and the slash families actually have to help with the builds. So no matter if it's their home or not, they have to help with the builds for so many hours before they can even be qualified to be able to get put into the process of being able to choose a home. They also they get to pay affordable mortgages. So a lot of banks and stuff and different organizations that you would get a mortgage from before, from elsewhere, would have way higher interest rates and things like that on top of it, and just fees and stuff that they could possibly occur. Here they make sure that their mortgages are affordable and that the interest rates are lower than as low basically as they can get them. They just started doing mortgages through another organization. So before they were doing all the mortgaging themselves, which kind of took some strain on them because they weren't able to get the funds right away and be able to start new projects. So now that they have that option, it's been way better, they said, and it's been a lot more projects getting done, therefore more support for those in the community and more houses to be able to give to other people and all the families in the community. And then strength, stability, and independence. They actually, homeowners and the families that are being prospects for the homes have to go through training as well. So they have to go through sort of financial training so that they know, and other sorts of trainings as well, so that they know how to handle their money, how to take care of their mortgages, different things like that, so that they have that stability and they're able to become independent after being supported by this organization. And then my experience, so I volunteered for one shift, which equals 8 hours of work from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Obviously you get a break for lunch, things like that, but basically you're working all day. So I did this on Saturday, March 7th. A lot of what we did for the home, it was a refurbished home, so it was already there. They just kind of spiffed it up a little bit. We were putting in cabinets. These were actually two of the guys I got to meet who are actually from Baylie, which is kind of weird because I am too. But they were super cool. So those two were the ones that were working with me, just kind of in a small group, putting together not only these cabinets that we have up here, but there's another set on the other side, and then in the upstairs bathroom we also put cabinets in, which takes way longer than you would think, but it was actually really nice, and it was fun to get to meet new people and be able to give back. And then the other group that was there was several other volunteers that were doing flooring basically all day too. So that was kind of my experience. And then kind of the why I did it. Obviously we had to have hours for this class, but more than that, I just think that giving back to the community just makes you feel good. Anytime that I've like volunteered, not even like right after, but just like the day after, like I just feel so like good about giving back and so good about giving up my like time and my energy to be able to support somebody else when they need it. It just kind of leaves a warm feeling inside, and I like love it every single time, and it makes me want to go back and do something else. The difference that I think I made is just a lot of saving time, energy, and money. Obviously this organization doesn't have the funds to be able to like hire on full construction teams and be able to put the homes together that way. So really what they're dependent on is volunteer hours and having people come in so that they can support and get these houses done. Obviously it might not be as time efficient, but like still being able to have us come in and put cabinets in that they would have had to done themselves, along with other projects they have to do, it just saves them so much time, energy, and money that they otherwise would have to like do themselves. And then benefit and kind of lessons. Some things that I learned from this is just communication is key when you're working with a small group. None of us had any clue how to put in cabinets. Obviously, we had never done it before, and there's way more steps than you would think, so we had to communicate a lot about who had done what is happening, like, have you already done this step so that we can go to this step, and also not only between, like, me and the boys that I was working with, but also with the kind of head contractors that we were working with too. If we had any issues, we had to communicate with them, and I hadn't really realized how much we had to communicate and to be able to get it done. And then just the little things mean a lot. So even just putting in honestly didn't feel like we got that much work done, but just putting in those cabinets meant a lot, more than like we can even comprehend, especially for like the family that would have had, could possibly have been on the streets or in a house that like wasn't in a safe neighborhood, things like that. Like our little things that we do mean a lot more than like what we think they do, which I think is super cool. And then the values, I had a lot of reinforcement behind the values that I kind of already stand for. So as listed here, when I think of myself, I think of just kind of open-minded, compassionate, authentic, determined, things like that. And I think honestly every single one of them was reinforced through this. The open-mindedness was just, I was very open-minded to this experience. I know I had no competency in any of the activities I would be doing, which can oftentimes like shut people down, which honestly it made me a little bit nervous just being open-minded though to that. I continued to have that values reinforced. And then compassionate, I think honestly to want to volunteer you have to care about helping others. So that just kind of reassured, like, I'm doing this, I'm like caring for somebody else. That's where my compassion is really coming into play. Being authentic, I had to be real and honest with myself about what I wanted to do and what I needed help with, what I didn't know how to do, things like that. If I would have just come in and tried to do something on my own and done it wrong, like it could have honestly ruined the whole house or the whole cabinetry. They would have had to brought like new ones in, things like that. So I had to be like honest with myself and real with the people around me about if I was able to do something and not able to do something else. And then the last one, just determined. Honestly, it can get pretty long working that long of a shift, but just pushing through and just getting all the tasks done that we were assigned at the beginning of the day was really accomplishing. Like, it just felt so good to be able to like mark it off the list for them. And that's kind of where my determination kind of came into play for that. And then what I learned about myself, obviously my values were reinforced, so I kind of learned like I'm heading in the right direction. But just overall, I like to volunteer. I like to be able to help other people when they are in need and support, not only through volunteering, but like even supporting like my friends and my family. Like, I always feel good about it, and I know that like volunteering is just another way to like kind of spread my wings and help others that I'm not as attached to as I would be with family and friends, and it just feels good every single time. And then I think I learned that my mindset is just kind of standing for what I think is right, and it's kind of put together with this quote: "We are one, our cause is one, and we must help each other if we are to succeed." I think that honestly, altogether, we have to work together to be able to get anything accomplished. And we can't really, as I said here, you don't need to be on top to be fulfilled. A lot of people, like, have the mindset that they need to push other people down to be able to get up to where they want to be. And I honestly feel like to be able to get to where I want to, like, be in general, I have to support others and hope that others will support me too. And I think through this volunteer opportunity, I kind of learned, like, that's the right mindset to have. These people were in a tough spot, and I met some of the families, and it was difficult to like be able to see like somebody be in that position, but through us helping them, they are now going to be in a better spot. And through helping them, I feel like I'm in a better spot just because it's like fulfilling to me. So I think that volunteering overall is just a way that you can give back, and hopefully it just like comes back around. And I feel like it like already is in a way. And then the connections I made to the material. So through chapter 1, the first part was context of communication, and I drew the small group communication. Obviously I was having to work with the 2 boys from Baylie as well as the contractors to be able to communicate. So we had a small group communication, which means communication within a group that is small enough for every member to participate actively with all other members. We weren't overcrowded where it would be kind of mass communications or anything like that. Like, we had a small enough group where we could actively be involved in the communication and actively physically involved. and be able to ask questions. If we needed any help, we could go to them. Not only them two, but also like each other. It was just kind of a small group feeling, and that was the first connection I made. The second one was with chapter 3, so just kind of in-group and out-group. Immediately when I walked in, I could tell kind of the in-group and out-group just from like not only what people were wearing, but like how like even like their stance, like their non-verbals. It was kind of crazy, but the definitions for those are in-group is a group with which we identify, and out-group is a group of people, it's groups of people that we view as different from us. So I felt myself to be kind of the out-group, especially like at the beginning, just because I walked in, everyone was wearing like, I won't say like overalls, but just kind of like, you could tell like they knew what they were doing, like the contractors, like you could tell who they were instantly. And even like the volunteers that already like worked with Habitat for Humanity knew what to wear, knew what to expect. Like they were just like ready to go. And then there was like me over here, my yoga pants and my tennis shoes and my like big t-shirt, and I could just tell like I was out of place. Throughout the day though, obviously like I became more of the in-group, and I was communicating with people, and I honestly would identify as an in-group now if I were to walk into them. Into the same situation. Along with those, I also connected with 2 other chapters. Chapter 5, the first one was understanding and listening fidelity. So when we were communicating with the contractors, we had to have understanding and listening fidelity together. So understanding is the act of interpreting a message by following semantic, and pragmatic rules. And then the listening fidelity is the degree congruence between a listener understands and what the message sender was attempting to communicate. So we had a lot of, these two were just kind of tied together in the chapter, but we had to do a lot of listening fidelity, because when he would like describe something for the activity we were supposed to do, like the stuff we were supposed to do, we had to understand and have that listening fidelity and really get what he was saying. If we didn't, literally like a centimeter off could have like messed up the whole entire setup. So just making sure that we were understanding everything that he said was something I connected to it. And then the last part was just chapter 6, types of nonverbal communication. I noticed a lot of body like movements. So whether it was like a gesture, or like even like when we would draw like there was a lot of like hand movements kind of thing. So like we had to cut into like the cabinets to make holes for the piping that was behind it for the sink. So like he would like show us like just like gestures all over the place, and he was constantly like moving with his hands. He was just very like physical with his movements, and I kind of connected that to it as well. And then obviously I have to promote a little bit. You should volunteer. Volunteering is honestly a soul filler for me, and Habitat for Humanity is a good organization just to volunteer for, because it's so much, you can do so much in like the time frame that they give you, and going with somebody else would even like, honestly I feel like would be even better, because you guys get to work together the whole entire day. They just help those that are close to us. They help people in our community. It's not, honestly, it could be your next door neighbor that's not able to make the mortgage payment that they have right now, so they have to move somewhere else. Like, it can be someone so close to you and you don't even know it. So it's just like a cool organization to work for. And then not only that, you learn life skills. I know how to put cabinets in now, so that's kind of cool. But just be able to like learn those skills, I think, is just a fun way to kind of approach it too. And then supporting those in a tough spot. Obviously, if somebody's in a tough spot and they need the support, I see this as an opportunity to be able to step up and help those people. And it's a great opportunity to be able to support those that are just in our communities overall. And honestly, why not? You have time if you want to make it. I like this little image over here. It says you always have time for the things that are important to you. So if volunteering and supporting others and helping others is something that you hold dear to your heart, like obviously This is a great opportunity, and I definitely would recommend it to anybody. Thank you.